Hey guys, how's it going today? Welcome back to the Black Hills and Eastern Railroad. Today we're going to talk about Burlington Northern's Big Green Cat. This was for a long time, the biggest locomotive, or the highest horsepower locomotive on Burlington Northern's large fleet. I'll give you a hint, it was not an SD45. This locomotive was a one-off, a Caterpillar repower, done in, I think, 1998. The railroad took a typical SD40-2 car body, Hulk or whatever, and installed a Caterpillar prime mover on it. The Caterpillar prime mover produced a reported 4,200 horsepower. The larger prime mover necessitated extended cooling needs, so a SD45 radiator section was added to the SD40-2 car body to provide for cooling for the large prime mover. As I said, the experiment was not repeated. It was only they tried it once. They did try a smaller Caterpillar prime mover on a number of GP20s later on in the Burlington Northern's tenure. However, there was only one 6-axle Caterpillar powered locomotive on the BN that's documented. It was not repeated, so but yet it the locomotive was rostered between, I believe, 1988 and the BNSF merger, and it was kept on the roster for a brief time after the BNSF merger. So likely it wasn't a complete failure, not a complete success either. So anyway, when I learned about this locomotive, I wanted one. I took a look around and found that the only option was basically a Overland brass model, which at the time the street value on that was $600, $700, $800 when you could find one. They only produced 25 or 50 of them, very limited number, and they're hard to find. And when people do sell them, they know what they want for them. I decided to go about building one of my own out of a Kato SD45 and an SD40-2. I was familiar with those models back then. I still am. I like them. They run great. They're easy to work on. There's plenty of parts availability for them. They just are a very good model. So I set about building my own. The first thing that I did is I stripped down the shells, and I did a little bit of paint removal on a couple of them, and I began building back up. I removed the radiator section from the SD45 and the dynamic brake section separately. I shortened the dynamic brake section from the SD45 and put that back together, and then cut the radiator section and dynamic brake section off the SD40-2. So the SD45 dynamic brake section and radiator section was added back to the SD40-2. I added a DTL's west part, the awning or the snow shield, whatever, over the intake screens right behind the cab, and the smoke deflectors on the roof around the exhaust area. I used the SD45 cab because it does not have the awnings like the Dash 2 cab does. The awnings on the cab itself, I needed a straight up and down profile on the cab to fit with the Details West awning. Then I added lift rings, I added snowplow, a number of other small details, MU hoses, and a number of other things. I reused all of the Kato SD40-2 handrails and grab irons. All that were reused, and no further modifications to the shell were needed to fit back on to the SD40-2 chassis, which I did reuse. I ended up using for DCC a DH163P decoder, which is an 8-pin decoder. It fits right into the 8-pin plug that comes with a Kato SD40-2, or at least the modern ones anyway. And then I used the green wire, which hangs free on that decoder, to power the rotary beacon. That's a I believe RB106 is what I used, and a Miniatronics 1.5 volt 30 milliamp bulb to power or to light that rotary beacon up. And then there's some programming needed on the decoder, and I programmed the main decoder number to 6330, and set it off and running. It runs beautifully, it runs reliably, probably better than its brass counterpart, and I'm proud to own this model. I hope to own it for a long time and hope to use it for operations on my Black Hills and Eastern Railroad. You'll probably see it up and down in coming years, and I'm going to have fun with it. The videos of this locomotive are taken from the Sioux Valley Engineers Society layout in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. That footage with the coal train was taken in 2019, and the more recent footage of the locomotive in Sioux City is from my layout today, actually. The two locomotives that accompany the Sioux City footage, the CNS 902 and the BN 8002, are my custom paints from here in my shop. I should also note that I did this project in 2019, before there was any such thing as scale trains or anything like that. So there was no scale trains SD40-2 and no scale trains SD45. I don't expect this model to ever be commercially produced. So again, it's something that's nice to have that few other people have besides the overland owners out there. Hope you see it running on the railroad. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching. Click subscribe to see more model railroad content coming up in the future. Thank you, guys.